Welcome to Clip Creep. Today we will be looking at the top 10 scary Disney theories. Disney movies are a firm family favorite. We all have beloved ones from when we were children, and they continue to bring out wholesome films to this day. But is everything as covered in fairy dust as it seems? We have compiled a list of the creepiest, scariest, most outlandish Disney theories to ruin your childhood. You're welcome. Make sure to like the video if you enjoy it and comment what you want to see next. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on Rumble. Now, let's begin. Snow White. The prince is actually Death. We all know the story of Snow White, and we all have our favorite dwarf, but what if all is not quite what it seems, and Prince Ferdinand isn't Snow's true love but is in fact Death? Yep, that's right, this love interest wasn't hanging out by the well for no reason. He was trying to make Snow fall in, meaning that when she flees back to the castle she is narrowly avoiding death. There are other appearances of the prince that seem to back up this theory, and eerily it also means that when Snow White lies in her coffin having eaten a dodgy apple, his kiss is not one of affection, but instead, it is the prince, Death, reaping her soul. This also explains why there is a castle in the sky at the end of the film. She has died and he's taking her to heaven. Monsters Inc. Human skin monsters. Originating on Tumblr, this theory is based on the fate of one of the series' beloved characters, Sully. As you may know, in the Monsters Inc. universe the inhabitants are all terrified of humans, and even a touch of an item of their clothing causes instant panic and lockdowns. Perhaps a big part of this fear is justified, with even Tough Randall saying, "I heard human skin monsters and make toilet covers out of their fur." Sully shrugs this off as nonsense, but take a look at this image from Toy Story short, Partysaurus Rex, and I'm sure you will agree with me that I don't much fancy Sully's chances having seen that toilet seat cover. Disney's departed mothers. This is a terribly sad theory based on tragic true-life events. The reason that there are so few mothers in classic Disney films is that Walt never got over his own mother's death. Don Ha, a producer at Disney, said in the early 1940s Walt bought a house for his mom and dad to move into. He had the studio guys come over and fix the furnace, but when his mom and dad moved in, the furnace leaked, and his mother died. He never would talk about it. Nobody ever does. He never spoke about that time because he personally felt responsible. Could this be the reason there are very few mother figures in his creations? Walt blamed himself and couldn't bear the idea of seeing them included. Boo from Monsters Inc. is also the witch from Brave. The bond between Boo and Sully was beautiful and heartbreaking, and this theory takes it one step further. The idea behind this one goes that Boo was unable to mend her broken heart and just had to find Sully again. She manages to figure out how to use the wooden doors to time travel, and not realizing Sully was millennia ahead of her, she instead goes backwards in time and gets branded as a witch due to her tales of monsters and time travel. Boo is still looking and traveling through time, hoping to meet him once again, leaving her mark wherever she goes, and this explains why Sully Easter eggs pop up all across the Pixar universe. Peter Pan is a deranged killer. Peter Pan is a celebration of the innocence of youth. On the surface, Pan brings children to Neverland where they never grow up and can have fun forever, but there is another view. Pan is instead a cold-blooded murderer, and Neverland doesn't have some unknown magic that stops the aging process. Instead, Peter kills his lost boys when they become adults, keeping them forever young. To add to this theory, Captain Hook is actually a lost boy who escaped and is trying to put an end to Peter Pan, not the bad guy everyone thinks. Interestingly, in J.M. Barrie's original play, Peter was written as a villain and kidnapper, so there may be some real truth in this dark theory. Mary Poppins and Pennywise are the same species. Well, there are a few undeniable things they have in common which have led us and many Reddit users to believe they are actually of the same species. Let's look at the evidence. They both show up again after 20-ish years and use the energy of a fresh group of victims, I mean children, to revive themselves. They also like to stop in and see the now adults they terrorized last cycle who have completely forgotten about their earlier experiences. They both have the power to create things from children's minds. Pennywise uses fear whilst Poppins uses imagination, and, maybe most importantly, they both love a bit of a boogie. Alice was suffering from psychosis. We absolutely love this theory that has been knocking around since before we can remember. The story goes that Alice isn't in Wonderland at all. Instead, it is all inside her head as she slowly descends into madness. From Tweedledum to Tweedledee, she isn't visiting fantastical areas and exotic locations, but Alice is in fact in the grip of a psychotic episode, with all her adventures and the characters she meets along the way simply a construct of her own damaged imagination. So did Alice take a trip down the rabbit hole, or is she the real Mad Hatter, rocking backwards and forwards in a padded cell somewhere, grinning and asking imaginary guests if they would like tea and cake? Frozen is a cover-up. I'm sure we have all heard the rumor that Walt Disney arranged to have himself frozen in a cryonic chamber full of liquid nitrogen upon his death, and the rather macabre detail that he is now buried somewhere on the grounds of the Magic Kingdom, waiting until science catches up and is able to resurrect him. Well, this chilling theory goes that the Walt Disney Company had had about enough of this tall tale circulating and people searching for it on Google, so they wanted to come up with a plan to squash it. This led to them writing a movie called Frozen, so that whenever someone searched for Disney Frozen, a popular way to find the theory, up popped Elsa and her friends and not a bunch of links to this crazy morbid story. Baymax survived and will come back to kill. With the seemingly unstoppable onslaught of artificial intelligence, this theory about Disney's Big Hero 6 could be even more sinister than when it was first thought up. If you haven't seen the movie Big Hero 6, it is all about a group of unlikely superheroes, tasked with saving the planet from a secretive masked enemy. With the help of a robot, Baymax, they save the day, but not before Baymax has to sacrifice himself in order to get Hero, his human companion, out of a wormhole and back to his friends. Luckily, Hero does manage to take Baymax's personality chip before the robot dies and uses it to create Baymax 2.0. However, during the course of the film, the original Baymax gets fitted with a combat chip, making him pretty badass but also pretty scary, and this version, with the combat chip installed, is never actually shown being destroyed. The terrifying theory is that this original version of Baymax is still out there somewhere, plotting his revenge for what happened to him and just waiting for the right time to act it out, and with that combat chip installed, he would be able to do some serious damage to that pesky human race that left him to die. Luckily for us, there are no plans for a sequel right now, but it could be a very different type of Disney film if this were true, that's for sure. Pluto is Goofy's slave. Considering the fact that both Goofy and Pluto are dogs, and Goofy owned Pluto, it'd be fair to assume that Pluto, in fact, is Goofy's slave, and everyone is totally fine with it, and that's how Disney shapes your thought process. Why, when they are both dogs, is only Goofy self-aware? Let's look at the facts we have. Goofy is a homeowner, so it figures he must be able to hold down a job. He wears clothes and he speaks and communicates with all the other characters. By contrast, Pluto inhabits a shack, walks on all fours and communicates through barks and gestures which no one can really understand. If they are the same species, why are they so different in the way they can interact with the world around them?
If you have made it this far, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and comment what you want to see next. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on Rumble so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.